Hello, welcome to Life Talk for Tuesday, May 30th, 2019. I'm Mark Crutcher, and I'm joined by my usual suspects here, Renee Hobbs, my assistant here.
Hello.
And Sheila the Doppy Crutcher.
Yes.
My daughter. And also, I keep on forgetting to introduce him, but he's here with us every week. He's very reliable. Ernie,
He's only reliable on table.
Right.
Yeah.
Ernie, the frilled-necked Republican.
He hasn't changed much. He's still not more green under the gills or anything.
No, he looks pretty much like he did last month. He's aging well.
That's impressive.
You know.
Yeah,
But
because he doesn't have much stress on him.
anyway, he's getting lots of work these days. We're going to be talking about that in the after we come back out of robots. But first up, a project that we've been working on now for several years. Actually, this will be the 10th year we've been working really aggressively on it, is getting the black community involved.
Yes.
And our Maafa 21 video has had incredible success with that. But anyway, some things are happening now. And just to show you what a pack of pathological liars the abortion industry is, in Alabama, this ban that's in Alabama, and this thing is still the thing that's percolating big time.
Definitely.
60% of the babies that would be saved by that ban are black.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. And right next door in Georgia, 66% of the babies that would be saved by their ban are black. And yet, the media in cohorts with the abortion lobby is out here pushing the idea that the Alabama ban on abortion would impact poor people and people of color more than anybody else. Yeah, it would impact them. It would save their lives.
That's right.
And that's funny, since abortion was designed to eliminate undesirables in the first place.
Like them.
Yeah.
The other thing is, something we've talked about here, and I did a Facebook thing on it not long ago, voter suppression. They're claiming that without voter suppression, this thing wouldn't have passed to begin with. Black votes have been suppressed in Alabama. Let me tell you something. In the history of the United States, there has never been a more powerful instrument for voter suppression than legalized abortion. When you have one segment of the society that makes up about 13% of the population but has 40% of the abortions, you are suppressing their political power. And at least 25%, at least, most statistics show, more than that, but at least 25% of the black population that would exist today in America doesn't exist.
You're eliminating before they even get a chance to vote.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't be sitting here telling me that this is because of voter suppression. Abortion is the greatest instrument of voter suppression that the left ever designed.
That's right.
Just another tactic for them to try to turn things around and make it seem like it goes for their side.
But anyway, everybody isn't being fooled by all this nonsense that these godless degenerates on the left and in the abortion lobby are pushing. Church of God in Christ, which we've worked with over the last few years, kind of peripherally through our friend Johnny Hunter down in North Carolina, they have committed some time ago to a campaign to expose what's happening in the black community vis-a-vis abortion. And it's now starting to catch fire. And joining us from North Carolina right now is my good buddy, Johnny Hunter. Hello, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
Praise the Lord, Mark and company. It's always a joy to be with you.
Yeah, we're happy to have you, Johnny. Johnny, you know, you and I and Renee especially have worked trying to get Kojic on board more than what they have been. And people need to understand, am I right that Kojic is the largest African-American denomination?
Yes, it is. It's the largest and well-organized. You know, when you have a church that functions as a powerful unit, you know, they have bishops, they have things, and this is a church that once it gets moving, they move lock, stock, and barrel. You ain't just going to have one church that claim they're pro-life and another group trying to holler out something like pro-choice. That ain't going to happen. Simple.
Right.
Good.
Right. Well, and we're seeing now, we started this campaign, as you remember, Johnny, with Kojic a couple of years ago, actually probably more like 3 or 4 years ago.
It's been a while.
And the church ran into some problems that we won't get into here, but and it kind of set them back. But it looks like to me they're back in the saddle again, and really starting to push the pro-life message through Kojic churches. Is that your perception as well?
Yes, and it goes deeper than that, Mark. You know, back in last month in May the 7th, we had a major pro-life rally right up there in Raleigh, you know, and I was one of the keynote speakers along with Claire, who was a survivor of abortion, because here in North Carolina, we have a Born Alive Act that our governor has really vetoed. And, you know, we have a majority in the lead as far as Republicans go for legislative, but our governor is a Democrat. So he vetoed the legislation of a baby born alive, you know, and I mean, killing a baby on their birthday. I mean, you can't get more horrendous than that. And people were shocked, you know. We held a rally. The Kojic Church made its presence known. Bishop Wooten was there, and not only was Bishop Wooten there, but ministers and all from the Kojic churches, all in surrounding areas. And when it was time for me to speak, I got up. I congratulated him, because also in South Carolina, they had wanted me to come down and help with some legislation for the personhood bill. And at the same time, I was supposed to have been up in New York. It didn't matter. I called Apostle Quick, a pastor who was with the Kojic Church that I met through Bishop Wooten of North Carolina, asked him to take that one on for me.
We lost you, Johnny.
They had choirs out at the legislative thing, and they have been powerful. They got that thing out of committee. So the Kojic churches, it's not even just locally, but even nationally. When you call on them, they are there.
That's great, because when somebody, a group of people stand up and lead and others follow, it just grows and it grows.
Right.
And that's what we need. We need the Black community to get involved, get together, and stop this thing. And I think it's awesome that they are counseling Black women that are wanting to have an abortion, and they're talking them out of it. They're giving them resources and just information that they're needing, and that's awesome.
It is. Johnny?
To give you an idea, the Upper Room Church is one of the largest Black churches here in North Carolina. When I was there, you know, and I was complimenting the choir, because the choir sounds so good, but the choir members came up to me. They weren't happy about their singing. They happy because that choir goes out to the abortion clinics on weekends.
Wow.
That's good.
You know, so there are things that are going on that media is not even covering.
Of course not.
No,
Yeah.
they're not gonna cover that. Certainly they're not going to cover that. We also see there's a new Planned Parenthood opening up in a Black community in North Carolina. And what they've discovered is that these people sneaked this thing in by setting up a shell company to buy the land to put this Planned Parenthood on, so that people wouldn't be alerted up front that this was a Planned Parenthood. And this is going into the Black community, and it just reinforcing what we said. They're targeting the Black community, and we proved it.
Same thing they did right here in Fayetteville. When I brought the pastors together, I said, listen, they're getting ready to build a Planned Parenthood right here, and they're going to be an abortion clinic. They said, well, Dr. Hunter, well, let's look at it. And they came back and told me, you have no credibility here, because it's a Theriton Medical Center. This is not an abortion clinic. And I mean, Black pastors jumped on me because I had said it was going to be a Planned Parenthood abortion. It turned out to be Theriton Medical. But when that place opened up, the last sign they put up was Planned Parenthood.
Did any of those Black pastors come and apologize to you, Johnny?
Some did. Some were too ashamed.
Yeah, right.
You know, this exposes their true agenda, and the Black community, nobody sees it. They're still being deceived. But thankfully, with Kojic and, you know, everybody, and others coming along, you know, their eyes are being open to this.
Right.
Yes. Now, what is happening in Charlotte, you've got the Frederick Douglass Foundation, but you also have Pastor Gould. That's a Black pastor who works very close with Wooten and Fozard, some of these other pastors. And he's not even Kojic, but he works very closely with the Kojic churches. And Gould and his people, when they're coming against this place.
Wow.
They're coming against this place. You know, they were out there. They started a thing, and the media just quietly reported. What's interesting, they showed up in the Charlotte news, did not show up in Fayetteville news at all.
Yep, this is typical media, but. You know, Johnny, when we first finished Maafa 21, and you came here to Denton and watched it the night we had the grand opening for it, and we had about 25, I'd say 25 or 30 people, if you remember that. And And then the next day, you and I and several other black leaders primarily sat and talked about what we could do with Maafa 21. And you remember, Johnny, we said that we thought it would be a very successful project if we could get out 10,000 DVDs. Do you remember that? Johnny, you still there?
I'm still there.
Okay. Do you remember that? We thought if we could get out 10,000 DVDs, that would be a very successful project.
Yes.
So far, we've gotten over 275,000 of them out.
Oh, God is so great.
It's been
God
watched
is so great.
well over a million. It's been watched well over a million times on the internet. It's been shown in churches and civic centers and convention centers all over the United States. It's been shown twice in the United States Congress. And I'm telling you, I still say, and I think you would back this up, Johnny, that...
Well, I tell you what's happening right here in Fayetteville. It's not even me that's pushing it now. It's Pastor McAllister. Pastor McAllister and his wife, Dr. McAllister, they have decided coming for June, they are going to be showing Maafa 21 again here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, because everybody hasn't seen it.
Right.
And they're trying to pick out a local theater here to actually show it. Meanwhile, what they've done is actually put it in the hands of some of their key fellow black pastors. So underground, this thing is moving.
Right.
And to show you the impact of it, when I spoke to 4 legislators, when they had to override, first of all, but even get that bill passed, they needed some Democrats to vote for it to get it passed in the House here in North Carolina. I went up and spoke to 4 black Democrats in that black caucus, 4 of them. 3 of them voted right, 1 voted wrong. Broke my heart. But nevertheless, it was enough to get that bill to pass. But people, when I got back, people were past other black, shocked that this representative of ours, though he was black, did not understand that here it is, they're going to kill a child even on their birthday. They could not stand it.
Yep.
And I found out, I said, what are they said, ain't you seen that movie Marvel, brother? You in it. You know, I'm going, okay.
Did they think
there's been an underground current of it going on that I didn't even know about.
Right. Yep. Well, it continues to rock and roll, and we're really excited about it. And we're not. We're still getting lots of orders for caseloads of them. People are buying them by the case. We sell a lot more of them by the case than we sell individually.
Wow.
But I mean, we had somebody buy 300 Friday, I think it was Thursday or Friday last week.
And so word is getting out that, the reason behind abortion, and,
eugenics.
Yeah, I mean, so people are starting to realize that, hey, they put these Planned Parenthoods and abortion clinics in these neighborhoods for reasons.
Yep, it's not by accident.
But it still needs to spread so that every single person knows.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Here the pastor here, like Pastor McAllister was talking about, his main thing about Planned Parenthood, we speak to other pastors, he said Planned Parenthood is toxic. So I've started using some of his message.
Yeah.
When you say it's toxic, people understand exactly what it is.
Right.
When they passed that thing in Georgia, and all of a sudden you had these black celebrities coming out, oh, this is terrible. And you saw the black sisters stand up real fast, and they have personally challenged them face to face almost.
Yeah.
And that was something the media couldn't ignore. They couldn't ignore Catherine Davis. They couldn't ignore Alveda King. They couldn't ignore Dagov. They couldn't ignore these other black sisters. Wait a minute. You don't even represent us, and here you are going to worry about abortion not being able to be done is going to hurt blacks. My goodness, banning abortion is the best thing that's going to help blacks.
That's right.
And Mark, you said it earlier, all across this nation now, 40%. That's a horrible number for us to be getting abortion. Right here in North Carolina alone is 55%.
Yep.
And there's the thing. The best thing an abortion can do is end. And we need to stop it. I'm not just talking about that. I'm kind of getting tired of this little, let's nip it and try a little this, try a little that. I love what some of the other states are beginning to do now. They said, come on, let's outright ban it. Let's see how far this will go.
Yeah.
Let's get serious.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Let's get serious about it. Well, Johnny, I know you've got another meeting to go to. I appreciate your being with us today. But if anything happens behind the scenes, be sure and let me know. We'd like to have you back on to talk about it. Oh,
certainly will. Certainly will. And Mark, thank you for being one of the media outlets that is showing that more than just people. Thank you for showing that black folks are concerned about this thing real too.
Oh, any decent person's concerned about it.
Yes.
Yep.
But Yeah, other folks have been leaving us out. I tell you, Mark, it's been something.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, like the New Jersey thing, Pastor Clenard is so upset. They got a whole major black event going up there, and the media is doing their best to ignore him on Cherry Hill.
Yep.
But the brother is raising Cain.
Yeah, he's a fighter. He's not going to go away quietly.
Yeah, I remember some of the stories that your wife, Pat, told me one time about how some black pro-life groups wanted to get, some white pro-life groups wanted to get a bigger black influence, but they didn't want to use any black people in it. And it was, it was
It's kind of counterintuitive.
Pat kind of got a little worked up about it. I remember that.
Oh, yes, she did, and she's still worked up about it even to this day.
Yeah, I know. That it was about 30 years ago that happened. Well, thanks, Johnny. We'll talk to you later.
All right. God bless you.
Bye, Johnny.
Bye-bye, sir.
Bye-bye.
You know, it is amazing how the media has totally ignored the fact that black people are coming into the pro-life movement in the numbers that they are.
But yet they show these like black celebrities or even white celebrities saying, oh, you know, these abortion bans, they're racist. They're suppression against black people and communities.
Right.
It's the very opposite.
Right.
You know, but that doesn't go with their narratives. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, anyway, we're going to take out a time for robots, and when we come back, we're going to talk about whether the pro-life movement is really ready for the big fight. We'll be right back.
In 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court legalized abortion nationwide. The decision is called Roe versus Wade, and those who defend it are known as robots. This is how they think.
You pro-lifers push adoption as an alternative to abortion for women who get pregnant from rape. But a lot of women are not emotionally able to carry a child for 9 months and then give it to someone else. And they can't keep the baby because it would be a constant reminder of the rape.
In other words, we're supposed to believe that rape victims are better served by having their babies ripped to shreds, then chopped up and sold for spare parts or thrown in a dumpster and hauled away to a landfill, than they would be by allowing those babies to grow up in a loving family. I'll tell you this, anyone who believes that has a pretty low opinion of women. As for this constant reminder argument, let's remember the case of J.C. Dugard. In 1991, she was an 11-year-old girl in California who was kidnapped and raped by Philip Garrido and his wife Nancy. Over the next 18 years, J.C. was held captive and routinely raped. When she was finally rescued in 2009, she had 2 daughters, ages 11 and 15, who had been fathered by Garrido. Now, what if Ms. Dugard said that her daughters looked like Garrido and were a daily reminder of him and the ordeal she went through? Should she be allowed to have them euthanized? In fact, since she was being held captive during her pregnancies and did not have the opportunity to get abortions, it could be argued that allowing her to have them killed now would simply be returning to her the right to choose that she was denied when she was pregnant. And remember, if we accept the abortion lobby's excuse for why adoption is not a legitimate option to abortion in these circumstances, it is even more applicable to Ms. Dugard's situation. Not only did she carry her children for the 9 months she was pregnant, she cared for one of them for an additional 11 years and the other one for an additional 15 years. So again, if she said they looked like Philip Garrido and were a constant reminder of the rapes, but she could not bring herself to place them for adoption, would we allow her to have them killed? Of course, that is preposterous, but it is the same illogical thinking that rationalizes abortion for cases of rape. It conveniently ignores the reality that an unborn child's right to life is not determined by the circumstances of its conception. So just as it would be an injustice to discriminate against a 5-year-old who was conceived in rape, it is also an injustice to discriminate against an unborn child simply because he or she was conceived in rape. Let's also not overlook the fact that when a woman kills a baby who was conceived and raped, she goes from being a victim of violence to being a perpetrator of violence against her own child. And it's hard to see how that benefits her. After all, you can find thousands of women who have had abortions and now say that it was the worst decision of their lives. But how often do you hear a woman who gave birth to her child now say that she wishes she had had an abortion? We're back. You had something you wanted to go over real quick.
Well, going with robots, abortion is the ultimate tool of discrimination.
Right.
No matter what, the left likes to say.
Right.
And you mentioned Maafa 21. People can watch Maafa 21 online for free. Just go to maafa21.com.
Right.
Dr. Johnny Hunter, who we had as a guest today, he is in it. And then we also have other products that people might find helpful to get out to communities to show that, yes, abortion is discrimination. We have the All Black Lives Matter card, showing that all Black lives matter, even in the womb. We have action cards for Maafa 21, and this is a really popular brochure. It's a Klan brochure connecting the Klan, KKK, with Planned Parenthood.
Or as we call it, Klan Parenthood.
Yeah, so KlanParenthood.com, people can go.
Right.
And I mean, it really is the ultimate form of discrimination.
Yeah, it is. That's what it's being used for. And I think I would challenge anybody to tell me that Maafa 21 doesn't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the motivation for legalizing abortion was black genocide. That's what it was about, and that has not changed, and they have not changed what their agenda is.
And the founding of Planned Parenthood. I mean, Margaret Sanger, she was bedfellows practically with the KKK.
Right.
She spoke at their rallies
Yep.
and was friends with them.
We also want to reaffirm to people another thing that we put out regarding this issue is our redlining thing. The thing how they put their clinics in the clinic
the racial targeting.
They call that redlining in the financial world. But anyway, we have a racial targeting report that uses U.S. government statistics from the Census Bureau to show that they disproportionately locate their facilities in black communities. And now even in the Hispanic community, they're branching out to go after them too. So anyway, this situation in Alabama, we've kind of touched on this a little bit before on previous shows, but we need to touch on it again. I've said that we're looking at ways to upgrade Life Talk so it'll be more relevant to the current generation that we're in fighting this abortion battle. And I don't know exactly yet how that's going to play out. We've had a lot of discussions around here, as y'all know. But one of the things that we've got to address, and it will be something that Life Talk will be addressing, we've got to do a better job of educating all these new people that are coming into the pro-life movement. And this situation down in Alabama has really reinforced that and heightened it. I have seen recently, and I know y'all have too, we've talked about it around here, that a lot of these new people that are coming into the pro-life movement literally could not give you a definition of what it means to be pro-life. They literally couldn't define it for you. The bigger problem is, though, that they can't defend it. They're not studying it. When I've told people before, when I first got in the pro-life movement full time, 35 years ago or so, I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to know. I looked at all the people that were out there, had been around for a while, and I said, I want to know what that guy knows. I want to know what that lady over there knows. And so, I hung out with Dr. Wilkie and Dr. Nathanson and Judy Brown and Joe Scheidler, and just go down the list, Father Marks, all these people. I wanted to know what they wanted to know because I understood the concept that knowledge is power.
Yes.
The problem today
is people don't think that way.
Well, and it's just low attention span here.
Short attention spans.
And also people think that they, have the knowledge already. A great example is I can't tell you how many times on social media when talking about the Alabama thing, they say, oh, yay, we're getting closer to overturning Roe. But that's the thing. it's not about overturning Roe. It's about establishing a constitutional definition of personhood,
Right.
of giving
That includes
unborn,
the unborn.
that giving the unborn, establishing a right to life for them.
Right.
If you just overturn Roe, it just goes to the states, and you still have abortion.
Yeah.
Yep, you
There's
have
still
a nightmare.
Major issues.
If they overturn Roe strictly on a states' rights argument and say that the Constitution doesn't mention abortion, therefore it's the states that determine this,
Yeah.
we'll be fighting this battle. Our great-great-great-great-grandchildren will still be fighting this battle.
We would
Yeah.
be better off to have Texas secede
That's
and then
no-
be like, oh, abortion is eliminated for Texas.
Yeah.
We're own
I mean,
independent.
Look
you
at the
know.
West Coast and the East Coast.
Yeah.
They're not going to end abortion.
No.
No.
They, never.
Well, we got states near us. Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado.
Colorado is the closest
Yeah.
state to Texas that doesn't border Texas.
Yeah.
They're not going to end abortion.
Oh.
So
No.
each individual state that's against abortion would be better off seceding to say, oh, abortion's ended.
Well, look at, I'll give you a good example of this, not better even than Texas and Colorado, is Illinois and Indiana. Indiana's a reasonably pro-life state compared. Illinois is as radically pro-abortion
Yeah.
as California or New York.
And we all still have blood on our hands, even if
Yeah.
Texas
Right.
protects the unborn and New Mexico or whatever and does the killing.
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Right. It's, yeah.
It's all in one. All
Yeah,
the
and you and I
same.
had a discussion with someone that just stunned both of us that we would never have thought.
Yeah.
But he's saying if we outlaw abortion in Texas, he said, I'm not worried about them taking babies to other states. At least the blood won't be on our hands.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it will be.
Technically,
That's not
you've
true.
ended in your territory, but that doesn't mean that abortion is ended, period.
These babies can be hauled across the state lines to be executed.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I watched, I came and told y'all about it the next morning because it was very upsetting to me. I watched a show on Fox where they had and I'm not going to use any names here, but they had a young lady on from a national pro-life organization. And she was
A very popular
a
one.
very popular one, and she is this young lady appeared to be very bright and very articulate and polished, and she had obviously been through some speaking schools and so forth. And they were talking about the abortion ban in Alabama, and her defense of it was laughable. Any first-year pro-abort could have just destroyed her.
Any
And I'm
pro-abort from a college campus.
and
which-
that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And it really reinforced to me that, and by the way, I'm not picking on this young lady because the fault is not hers. The fault is ours. When she came into the pro-life movement, we were supposed to do a better job of training her.
Well, yeah, I mean, the pro-life movement, there is a lot to know.
Right.
It's not just we need to protect the unborn. It's not just the injustice of the baby, but I mean, there's a lot to learn. It is overwhelming.
I think I told you that the day you came here, didn't I?
The easier
Gosh.
position to take would be, I believe, that it's a woman's right to choose. The dumb,
You don't have to know anything.
exactly. But being pro-life, you have to know.
Science and technology
Yeah.
and
Medicine and
I mean,
medicine
it's the moral.
theology and
Being pro-life is the moral position, but it's not the stupid position.
it's not the easy one to. And, I used to make that point when I was doing the old life activist seminars, and I would tell people that you have to accept when you become pro-life that your position is inherently harder to make than your enemy's position. I was there to do an 8-hour seminar, and that seminar could have been 80 hours long, and I still wouldn't have been able to teach you everything you need to know. If it was a pro-abortion seminar, I just have to teach you one line.
yeah, we kill babies and we want money.
And well,
Well, that's the real. That's not what they would say.
but all you got to know to be pro-choice or pro-abortion is, I'm not going to defend abortion. I wouldn't have an abortion. I don't think it's right. It's wrong. But I'm not going to tell somebody else they can't have one.
It's other people's decision.
That's 100% of what you need to know.
Yeah.
So it's inherently more difficult to argue the pro-life position, which makes it even more incumbent upon us to educate the new people that are coming in.
Right.
And I look out here now and I see a whole bunch of new pro-lifers in this movement, which I'm thrilled that we have.
Sure.
But the fact is, if you look at the situation like down in Alabama, we've been working in the pro-life movement for over 45 years to get to that position.
Yeah.
We have to be ready then
Right.
to fight the battle that comes as a result of it, and we're not.
And don't weenie out, and don't say the Supreme Court's not going to pass this or the lower court's
Right.
not going to pass that.
Or just rely on say, oh, it's passed, and now we'll just wait and see what happens at the Supreme Court. No, the job isn't done. It's great that these pro-life bills are being passed, but that doesn't mean that the pro-life movement can just sit back and watch what happens.
Yep.
It's more important than ever that we continue on, because the other side is getting nastier
They're vicious.
and more aggressive
Yeah.
by the day.
We're seeing almost on a daily basis a report coming here that the media never talks about and never gets any press about some pro-lifer being physically attacked
Yeah.
for picketing or protesting in front of an abortion.
They are vicious. I mean, it's just like
They're
the
nasty.
Democrats. They don't give up. They're not
Right.
going to stop. The pro-aborts aren't going to give up, and they're not going to stop. And neither are we, though.
But that's right. But we've got to do a better job
Yeah.
of educating these new people that are coming in.
Right.
And I have been literally appalled lately at some of the things I've seen. The other thing that we need to talk about is our little buddy here,
Oh,
Ernie, the frill-necked Republican.
And he may look cute in that form right there, but in real life,
Now we're
isn't.
seeing all of these Republicans that have always how pro-life they are, running like their heads are on fire away from the bill in Alabama. And just yesterday, Mitt Romney, who would have been the darling of the pro-life movement had he won, right? He says, oh, that bill down in Alabama, I could never support that. It goes way too far. Too far? How many babies are you willing to kill, Mitt? That would be my argument.
Yeah.
To
oh,
him.
Pat Robertson.
Pat,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
don't even get me started.
How is protecting babies considered an extreme position?
I don't know, but what this reinforces to me is something that I have been saying for years, and I think we've somehow or another we've got to get this over, especially to these new people coming in. We need to be looking at these politicians in the face and making something crystal clear to them. We're not interested in your position on abortion. We don't care what you think about abortion. We don't care what you feel about it, what you believe about it. None of that means anything to us. We don't care. All we want to know is, do you believe that the unborn child from the moment of fertilization is a living human being, a person entitled to the same rights as every other person? It's very simple. Either that's a yes or no deal. Either you believe that or you don't. But when we make the issue about abortion, then we give them a way out. We give the Hillary Clintons of the world an ability to come out and say, oh, listen, I'm pro-life. I oppose abortion. I think every abortion's a tragedy, but I support a woman's right to choose.
Yeah, so
right?
you're saying that, oh, the killing of a child is a tragedy.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
But
So, okay,
I
well,
wouldn't do it.
okay, well, what about, every robbery go wrong? That's a tragedy, but should that be legal? No.
right. But we've got to do a better job of this, and we've got to make sure that people understand that not what we're opposed to is abortion. That's not the issue. The issue is what we're in favor of, which is protecting the unborn child. Right. And so many and let me give you an example, and we're out of time, obviously, but let me give you an example here of what I say when our people don't understand. We got so many people here who don't understand. I've seen time after time, just in the last few weeks, since the Alabama thing, where people on our side are saying, yes, we're happy that Alabama passed the most restrictive abortion law in the country. There's no way a pro-lifer should be saying that. It's not the most restrictive abortion law in the country. It's the most protective abortion law in the country. But they're using the abortion industry and the media's rhetoric. When you say it's restrictive, that's a negative.
Right.
But if you would say it's the most protective legislation in America, okay, protective of what?
Babies.
Babies.
Yeah.
Right, and these women. So now you're talking about it on our terms, not theirs. And this is a good example of what I'm saying about how we've got to do a better job of educating.
And I want to point out something that I think more people need to understand. And I think you said this in your book, Siege, which is on the table. You have, if you want to hold
By
it
the
up.
way.
Yeah. By the way, hold it up. No, that's your cue. No, that this battle is not between us, human beings, not between adults or,
It's not between the pro-life movement.
exactly,
pro-aborts.
and the pro-aborts. It's between the pro-aborts and unborn babies.
Right.
We're just stepping in for them.
We're just an army, a volunteer
Right.
army, mercenaries, basically, who stepped in on the side of those who can't defend themselves.
But if abortion continues on and the left gets their way, it will start to become about us too, with euthanasia and, targeting the elderly and other undesirables.
The elderly, you mean like me?
Yeah. Well, you're not on your deathbed, so.
I'm elderly. No. I tell you what, it's hard when you reach that point in life where people start referring to you as senior citizens and elderly. Well, you'll be there for too long, so.
I have like 20 years. Are you kidding me?
Believe me, that 20 years will flash by.
It already has.
But to put it into perspective, it's not about us right now. It's about the unborn.
Right.
But it could extend to being about us
It
as
already
well.
is. It already
Yeah,
is.
I mean, with euthanasia and stuff. But
Talking about this elderly thing, I make the joke all the time. I get up in the morning, I read the Dallas Morning News, and I look at the obituaries, and a couple of things jump out. First off, half the people in the obituaries are younger than me. But the other thing is, I say, well, I read the obituaries, and if my name's not in it, I go to work.
You're good.
I'm good.
Still check your pulse.
See if I'm still able to go to work. So anyway, but that's okay, because we're getting you warmed up in the bullpen. So
That's right.
if something happens to me, or when something happens to me, or whatever.
which isn't going to be anytime soon.
You don't know that. I'm 71 years old and still riding motorcycles. So
Well, exactly. You're still riding motorcycles.
right, building motorcycles. Anyway, all right. Anything else?
Nothing else.
You don't have anything off the internet, or is the computer still down?
It's down. I don't
It's
have
down.
it open.
Don't have anything to talk about. All right. Well, we're out of time. Until next Tuesday, remember, Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight. We're here to win, because winning is how the killing stops. We'll see you next week.